Alright, we're gonna start a little early tonight because I had to make sure everything was working. Plus I kind of want to get into this coloring. I just want to say welcome to all of you. Either good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be or whenever you happen to be watching. Yeah, so I know it's been a couple weeks. Last week kinda sucked. Um, 'Cause yeah, I got sick. I got sick on Sunday last week. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, like, I had the day off from work on Monday. Yeah, we'll be fine by Tuesday. Then, yeah. If anyone is getting into the nasty crud that happens to be going around right now, I feel sorry for you. I empathize. Yes, that's the word. Yeah, it was not fun. Not the big C word, but definitely a cold of some sort. And I've come to realize that as an adult with adult responsibilities and stuff, it's a lot harder and it sucks more to get sick. So, yeah, anyway, you might be able to tell I'm still a little nasally and stuff, and I'll try not to cough in you guys' ears because that's not fun, but if I'm lucky, my headset will like just do its magic thing and make it go away, but hopefully we don't have to test that theory this evening. So yeah, that's why we are now coming back to our wonderful barbarian class, snake hunter lady, a little bit later. I'm gonna try and keep an eye on the other screen that is behind my shoulder, and try to do a good job of keeping track of any comments, but if there's a delay in my response to it, just understand it's because I don't have eyes in the back of my head. Unfortunately, I did not come with that upgrade, and I have not gotten to that point in life where that upgrade is magically inserted or anything, so anyway, so yeah, I'm still working on the background on this one. I decided to do a detailed background on this. Although I think the ranger that I did a couple before this, it probably has a more detailed background than this, but I mean, this one comes in a close second, definitely. So yeah, I did finally find a name, get around to looking up a name for this barbarian class lady, or RPG lady project. This is Fianna. I don't have much of a backstory for her. I still need to work that one out, but she now at least has a name. So you know how it works with stories. If they've got a name, they probably are gonna have something important happen to them. Unless it's a really run-of-the-mill name, and then kind of a toss-up. Anyway, so for my Twitch viewers, because I don't want to mess around with this. I want to try and keep my YouTube channel kind of like more art and creativity related. But for my Twitch users or Twitch watchers, I do stream now on Monday evenings. you will have to look on the Twitch schedule as to what that time is, because it's not coming to mind right now. But I am going to be starting to stream some games I'm playing. Currently, and probably for a while, based on how slow it takes me to level up, I am playing WoW. This is an agreement my husband and I have come to, that I shall partake in WoW for a period of time to understand the experience. So when he starts getting excited about WoW, I can at least understand what he's talking about. So, but yes, that is one of my grand adventures I'm headed into, or currently doing, I think, for the past few weeks. I've been kind of putzing away at it. I think I left off just having leveled up to level 13. So yeah, that's kind of a work in. That one's gonna be kind of around for a little bit here. But I am planning to play other games once I'm done with that. I'm planning to play some other games and stream those. Probably not multiplayer games like WoW, but like more. I have a backlog of games I've purchased over the years. There's this little site called Humble Bundle. I apologize for those of you who don't know what it is and are now having that brought to your attention, because you may end up collecting a lot of digital goods like myself and not be going through them. So I figured if I set some time aside, a little bit of accountability from the internet, and yeah, I'm gonna start going through some of the games that I have purchased over the years. I know it's so. Let me preface this in saying I am not a gamer. I kind of like the concept of games to an extent, but I am very much a creative person, and there are just some aspects of sitting down and playing a game that rankle my creative nature. It's like, I don't know. It's probably also the whole productivity thing, socialization stuff that, grew up with. A lot of people have grown up with. You gotta be productive all the time. So spending time on game is not productive, which not necessarily true. I understand this. It's just kind of those deep-seated things and biases that get put into your brain at a young age. Really hard to get rid of as an adult. So anyway, there are plenty of games I like the idea of. I like them, especially if they're like story-based or turn-based or click-based, and they are not involving a lot of the, let's put it this way, the first-person shooters are probably not for me. I do not have the eye-mouse, hand-mouse coordination for those things to be fun. Definitely not my... I think I forgot to do something here. Definitely not my... Yeah. Oh well. I guess only a few of these will be using the highlight color. But yeah, the quick reaction related stuff, since I didn't grow up using controllers or even the keyboard and mouse in that particular way, like, I better put cap on this one. Video games are very frustrating for me in general. I don't know the full language, there's, of controls and what the classics. I'm learning. you know, the AWSD, whatever, however you want to phrase it, you know, those, using those sorts of things to navigate, and yeah, the ones at the top should have had this highlight. Ah! Just slight meltdown over here. You know, learning, like, what different is. Okay. So last night I decided to play, like, and also because I'm on Twitch, like, Amazon Prime kind of comes up as advertisements there. Like, oh yeah, you could get this game free. Like, oh, a simulator for, like, animal rescue. That doesn't sound too complicated. Oh my gosh, I never thought a game like animal rescue would be so freaking stressful to play. Man, that's like, oh, you can't keep things clean. You can't keep the dogs clean. There's only so much time in the day to do things. There's like one person. Like, you're the only person manning it. Like, if I had a couple other people, it would help. But like, I'm so embarrassed because, like, I couldn't figure out. So okay, so here's the thing, is one of the things which I'm may talk to some people who actually do gaming stuff. Like, I'm trying to determine if my frustrations with this particular game and its interface is like the interface was poorly designed, or if I just don't understand the concepts. Because, like, oh, sorry about all the likes. So what I'm trying to get at is, there was this part in there where you have to wash the dog with the scrub brush, and like I was watching, like, because it was like this metered thing. It would go back and forth with the scrub brush. I didn't understand what I needed to do. So it was like, is it automatically washing the dog? How am I interacting with this? I didn't realize what you were supposed to do was click on it, like, during periods where it was in a certain, like, green zone. You're just click at one end, click on the other, and it would go faster. Kind of like momentum, ping pong ball type thing. And I'm like, it took me forever to figure out what I needed to do, and then I realized very, very quickly, again, I am not very coordinated. Me, you know, communicating down to my finger that I need to hit the mouse button just for some reason doesn't work. Especially when things keep going faster and faster and faster. Okay, so I'm like, I don't know if that part of it was just me not knowing a particular language that video game designers are assuming that people have at this point, that their users are going to understand that, oh, hey, yeah, I need to go, oh, this is that kind of a mechanic in the game, and I need to be clicking back and forth to try and keep it in a certain zone. I don't know if it's just me lacking that vocabulary, or if it was just poor game design. There were some other stuff that was getting really wonky. It's like, oh yeah, this lady calls up, the mayor or whatever, calls up and says, hey, you want to make sure that, you know, you're sorry, I'm just focusing on this part. You want to make sure that your shelter, like, is disease free and stuff. So I get off the phone call with this lady in the game, and I go, because, like, I've already been informed that, like, 2 of the dogs have, like, some sort of virus, 2 other dogs have, like, a parasites, and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta go grab the dogs, and, like, I get 4 steps, and all of a sudden she's walking in the door and she's saying, oh, I'm so glad to see that, hey, the shelter is disease-free. And I'm watching the dogs pacing in the background with the little bubbles above their heads that say they have ticks. And I'm like, yeah, I think some sort of weird flag didn't get set right. And so there were a couple other things that, like, part of me feels like something wasn't right here. Either I'm not catching on to this well, or it wasn't something's going on really weird with some of the game design. And you know, it was a free game on Amazon Prime, so it might be one of those hit or miss things. I get that. You get what you pay for. So yeah, so things like that are probably games like where I'm probably going to stream what I'm doing. For those of you who regularly game, I may be doing older games that you're like, oh my gosh, this is so a decade ago or whatever, or so last year. Look, if it's got a good story, decent mechanics, doesn't mean you should throw a game out or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure where I was going with that. So yep, that's kind of one of the other streams that you can watch me fumble around at stuff and get extremely frustrated. Do feel sorry for those WoW players who were trying to give me tips and I was not paying close enough attention to the stream chat to respond appropriately, and it was probably frustrating the heck out of them. Anyway. Yeah, for those of you who have been watching this particular project being streamed, or some of my more recent streams in the queue, probably noticed that now this is facing a different way from what it had been. I finally figured out where in OBS Studio to go and do the horizontal flip, because I was looking in the wrong spot. So I'm like, oh man, really? So now we have everything in the correct orientation, which technically probably doesn't matter a whole lot for this drawing, but where I had things like words and text, it was really starting to bug me. I don't know if it was bugging you guys, but it was bugging me. So this, number 6 of the 10 fantasy RPG women project I'm doing. And so I've got to try and get all the pencils and stuff done and the initial inking outline done for the remaining 4. I do have one that's started. I think the wizard will probably be the one you're going to see next. And then you're probably gonna... Not sure what you'll see after that. You might see the artificer, or... because I think I do have a reference photo I want to use for that one. So I already kind of know... have an idea that I have a pose for that particular person, but I don't have anything. I have some ideas for the bard. But I gotta find the right pose or set of reference images that get me to the right pose. Just 'cause, yeah. It all means nothing until you actually put it down on the paper. So that is going to be one of projects I have to do off camera. Because honestly, it's a little bit more boring probably to watch than seeing like something take shape and getting colored and stuff like that. And B, it's also much harder to film, because I'm still trying to figure out the best way to go about like filming stuff, like pencils and stuff like that. Still not quite. I don't think it would be good enough quality to make it worthwhile. Because I know in the past I've done... I don't remember if I streamed or if I've just done some pencils and stuff. Or, sorry, just recorded some stuff so that I could then like put together some YouTube videos that have not been put together. So, shows how efficient I am with that. Still working on that side of things. But it can be really, really hard to see anything when I'm doing like pencils. So pencil work. So it's like it's maybe not even worth trying to show. So what do we have? Oh yeah, I still also have to... So, the last 4 ladies, as far as I understand or have planned for this series, are going to be a wizard, bard, and an artificer, and a druid. I think the only one that I don't really have some clear ideas on, ironically, because this is kind of up my alley, is the druid. So I don't have any particular poses or reference images or anything put together for her yet, so still gotta do that one. My plan eventually is to take some of these recordings and stuff of me doing some of the drawing and coloring and such, and create some stories to go with these lovely ladies. Part of me is toying around with even coming up with some like stats for like D&D, translation to D&D, if anybody wants to play them. But maybe a bigger project than I want to actually take on at this point. So we'll see. But I do think some of these will probably definitely have a story. Grenna definitely has a story. That was our assassin. turned warlock. Usually goes the other way around, I think, but this is what happens when you play around with family heirlooms. So yeah, I don't think those were quite different enough colors. Yeah. Not quite. So yeah, I have like half of the short story done for Grenna. I just need to kind of finish it up. Done a couple of iterations on it, but like on the overall story, but I just kind of have to finish a final version of it, and then I can record it and put it to like the background stuff of as the background for like a speed draw some of these videos or of the sessions I did to color her in. Should be kind of fun. But again, it's kind of one of those things where sometimes finding the time to do the thing can be difficult. As some of you guys can tell, I haven't worked on this since the last 2 weeks. I could have. I mean, the good news is I wasn't completely unproductive while I was sick. I wasn't productive on this particular project, but I did start making some headway and cleaning up and finishing up the rest of the soda vampires that I got started a while ago. I think that might have been in 2023 I started that. I know I started this stuff. Was it 23 or 22? No, I don't remember. It's been a while. It was longer than I thought, because I'm like, oh, no, it can't have been that long ago. It can't have been that long ago. I'm like, oh, wait. Some of these I did during my honeymoon, or at least did the sketches for during my honeymoon, so yeah, it's been a while. So yeah, the vampires, if you want to see some of those finished ones, eventually I'm gonna be maybe doing like the tabletop by night are the people who kind of inspired me to do this mix of vampires and soda. And some of my like the speed recordings from Clip Studio Paint are a couple of them are on the Tabletop by Night channel, so you can go check them out. They're shorts that basically have the background is pieces from the Tabletop by Night podcast, talking about that whatever the particular clan is that that I'm drawing in the background. So yeah, if you're interested in that, you can go check that out. Yeah, and I'm hoping to, because I also edited the shorts for them, so I'm hoping to maybe get some time to sit back down at the computer again and do some more editing and get some more of those like knocked out for them, because I know that would help them out a little bit too. So yeah, it was a lot of fun doing the I think the worst part about that project is just how long it's been taking me to get it done. It's kind of, at some point, you've been working on a project so long that you just want to see it at a completion. And I kind of got, the reason I kind of stopped at 5 with these last year was because I was getting a little burnout on this particular project. I still want to finish it, because I did say it was 10 fantasy RPG women. So I feel like I have to kind of work on delivering on that promise. But I think I was just trying to get so many of them done so quickly that creatively I was getting a little burnout on that. I think one of the things I like about desk drawings is that what I classify as my desk drawings they're really frequently just doodles, and there's no actual purpose for them. Like, I don't have a particular final image ready in my head for them, and whereas with like the vampire, or not with, yeah, with the vampire ones and with this series, the fantasy woman, it's like, yeah, I do actually have particular set of things I have to, rules I've set down for myself for completing this. And so we're just not feeling inspired to draw a wizard or a bard or a druid or an artificer, you kind of run into this stalemate where I had to just step back and say, okay, I'm gonna work on something else for now, and come back to it later, which I have. Partly because I was starting to kick butt with the vampire stuff again, and because I want there are other projects I have that I want to work on and share and stuff. I have after this one, I think I'm gonna go back to one that I was starting to do before I even started this project, but I just never quite got it off the ground. And that's so I'm gonna call it my power princesses. I kind of, you have those random generator sites where they might generate a random name or character or something like that. Well, this one of the random generators was like for power princesses, like princesses who have the power that they have in their name. And so I'm like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I wanna roll up a few, or randomly generate a few of these, and a few ended up being like 24 or something like that, close to 24. And I'm like, yes, but but they need villains. They need villains to be working against. So using the same generator, I generated like about the same amount, same number of villains, So, that is one that I am planning to start pulling back out of, dusting off and getting ready, because I picked, like, so I took the names and those powers and everything, and I have picked out some like reference images of a diverse group of young women. Just was trying to get from all over the world and everything, and I'm kind of I'm hoping that it turns out well. It's just Yeah. Me and faces. Like, I feel like I get the same face thing, which is why I was trying to find a whole bunch of different reference images that would work for these ladies. And so we'll see how that goes. I am hoping that I can interpret those references images in such a way that it doesn't look wonky when I put the head on top of like someone doing the specific pose I need them to be doing. Yeah. Trying to learn how to like rotate a head, just trying to figure out how to imagine like what this head or this face would look like in a different angle or rotation or something like that. So that is one of the challenges I am planning to take on with that project. I don't know if I like that. So stay tuned for that next project. I also have a couple of other interesting little bits I've been so I think part of what inspired me to get my butt back going on the vampire thing and just kind of finish that out was I fell down the rabbit hole, kind of literally, of, oh no, it's figuratively, but ironically, I fell down the rabbit hole of the Artists in Wonderland YouTube series, which is put on by a whole bunch of these artists from America and the EU, and it was loads of fun to watch. All these YouTube creators, artists coming together to basically have a week of fun competing against each other. So I'm like, yeah. And so some of that, I found that very inspiring, and then I also fell into 10/100's channel because we're kind of from a similar area, which shocked me when he kept saying, oh, I'm from this part of my state. And I'm like, oh, okay, I haven't been around that area, but that means that someone from my state could actually have a chance at being known on YouTube and making a career out of art. That would be cool. Anyway. So yeah, I've been watching a lot of 10/100 stuff, and then I think because of the Artists in Wonderland, starting to watch people like Kipto and Slew. Although I think I knew Slew, I watched some of Slew's stuff before 10/100, and then who else was there? Schmonova. I've been watching some of his stuff. I think that's looking good. Okay, so yeah, just all these artists, now. I think one of the things I like about YouTube artists who collaborate with each other is that you get to kind of broaden your watching experience, essentially. Like, you get to find out who artists are in, you get to watch somebody else do something really cool and stuff. I think the first artist I started watching on YouTube was who was it? Yeah, I think it was Jazza. Yeah. Yeah, Jazza's got a lot of the crazy I want to try everything, you know, arty or remotely arty, and yeah, I get that. My overflowing craft supplies get that. They scream that on a daily basis. Chaotic creative. That is one way to define me. And then then I fell into Nerd Forge because for like years ago, in the before times, before the 8 to 5 job, like I was back when I was in college, I got into like a bookmaking, like bookbinding journey of sorts. I didn't realize there was one here. Huh. And so like I think it was like on Reddit or something, like where she did one of her first bookbinding things. I'm like, oh, well that's really cool. And then somehow years later I stumbled onto her YouTube, the Nerd Forge YouTube, and I'm like, yes, this is again my kind of content. A lot of things that I would do. Because it's not, because right now I am kind of focused in on working in sort of the line style, comic book style, whatever, and doing a lot of D&D and character stuff, which I think overall, looking through all of my old journals and stuff, it's like, or sketchbooks and stuff, it's like, well, yeah, you're almost always, that's one of the consistent things is me being focusing on character-based stuff. Most of my illustrations are character-based. There's paintings, on the other hand, kind of a mix. Probably more landscapes than characters, although it could be pretty even because I haven't done a huge amount of paintings. Which is weird to say because for a while I thought that was the thing I was going to be doing a lot of. I certainly have enough acrylics and oils to last me a couple lifetimes probably, but yeah. No, I have the ones that I collected after my grandmother taught me how to do oil painting. I remember learning that in her kitchen, at her kitchen table. And then unfortunately she is no longer with us, and after she passed, the many oil paints and watercolors got passed on to me, which means I have no lack of supplies to work with, just also a lot of supplies to work with and store. But yeah, so yeah, right now this has kind of been my thing for the last couple of years, has been working with the alcohol markers. I think, like, on the one hand, I like how quickly and evenly I can put down color and get something colored. Like, it's colored, it's done. I don't have to wait for things to dry. I don't have to worry about mixing. I'm just checking to make sure I don't need to do anything else with this color. Okay. I don't have to worry about like mixing colors and then having to walk away and then figure out what color I mix. You know, these are pretty, yeah, comes out of the tube. Yeah, comes out as it is. Which I do need to kind of maybe work a little bit more with paint markers and see how I like that. Because that's another option. But, you know, honestly, I had wanted for a very long time and had some good intentions of doing like some comic book stuff, but because did not have a very good digital, and I'm also not very good at digital now that I do have a method. Okay. I have to do the sketch outside of, I have to do like a sketch on paper, bring it into digital now, and then I can do line work and coloring, but the line work has to be pretty much done. It's because I can't compositionally, because it feels like it's an infinite screen, it's hard for me to compositionally deal with some of that stuff, you know, creating the composition. So it's one of the aspects I still struggle with in digital, but you know, by continuing to work with it, you know, I'm hoping to improve in that aspect. Eventually I'll get there. I just have to take it a small project at a time and in small increments and have wins on each increment, because otherwise I'm going to run away from it. Anyway, but so years ago I was hoping to do like webcomic stuff. My problem, there are a few factors as to why I have not done or completed. I have one comic that took me multiple years to complete, let's put it that way. Probably a decade. To be fair though, like I started it when I was in one career that I then kind of crashed out of after a year or two, couple of years, and then I went back to school, and then I had gotten to a new job. So it's like a lot of big life things were happening that kind of made me halt on that particular one. But yeah, I wanted to do a webcomic of my of the story of like the backstory to the play that I wrote. I think I have like maybe 6 pages of it online somewhere. But like my big stalling points were like repeatability. I am terrible with being able to repeat the same kind of character over and over again. And it's one of the hang-ups. I mean, the other hang-up is just plain composition. Like, you're trying to tell this story, and you're trying to tell it within the confines of a certain amount of, you know, space, but you have an infinite way to tell that story. Like, a story, picture's worth 1,000 words. Yeah, so you got multiple panels and in that picture and everything. It is an awesome medium. It is an awesome way to tell stories. I am addicted to a lot of webcomics. When I'm able to get back to them, life still is a way of working in and keeping me from doing that on a consistent basis. But like creators like Meg Civ, there's who did Daughter of the Lilies, or does Daughter of the Lilies, it's not done. Gosh, I wish I could remember everybody's names. Kaylin, if it's like Kaylin Smith or something like that. Plume is hers. just amazing. And she's another Michigan, like all these people in Michigan who are hiding and have all this talent and like, oh my gosh, okay, my state is not just a winter wonderland. So like, yeah, it's just kind of cool when it's somebody who technically is driving distance. But anyway, well maybe I actually I don't know where she's based, but somewhere in Michigan. So yeah, it. I'm probably gonna pronounce this wrong, but Pascal Laplace, I think is what her name is, or their name is, and oh my gosh, like wildlife. Just go in wild W. Oh, sorry. Okay, it's late. WILDE life. Look for that webcomic. Oh my gosh, that paranormal, witches, comedy, comedy. It's slice of life. But her art style. Oh my gosh, I think it's. Anyway, it's amazing. It's so picturesque. Like, and she always manages to throw in these beautiful skies in her panels that are just, they're gorgeous. And the story is so good too. Oh gosh. Okay, I need to start writing down a cheat sheet for when I get into my rants on or my gushing on webcomics, because I can never remember everybody's names. I'm terrible with names, but like go check out Wittershins. That's a cool webcomic. There's something called I can't remember the other one. Like some of these are so. There's some that are really cinematic and stuff. Some of them you'd swear are like stills from, I think, Kamikaze or Kamarabi or something like that. Oh my gosh, that's a beautiful sci-fi one that's definitely looks like stills from like a animated series. Oh, it's great, gorgeous, and really good story. And the danger always with those is people who might have ever read maybe the first 6 pages of my webcomic is like there's always the danger of like these really good stories, like progress, just the author just ends up dropping them because it's just not what they want to work on anymore, or they get to a place where they're stuck, or something happens in life and you've got to take a step back. And so like there are a lot of dead comics out there that were really good. I think the ones that I really loved that I'm kind of PO'd about because they were either I can't find them anymore, or they just kind of, and they stopped like on this cliffhanger thing, or are ones that apparently I found out what happened was, I think it's like Magnetic Press or something, hired a whole bunch of different comic artists to kind of like these pitch pieces, and some of them were like really good concepts, and some of them did continue on and got published somewhere, and like, okay, yeah, at least I can go see what finishing the story was. But then there were ones you can't even find the originals of, and I just like, the original pitch of, and like, but that was so good. Thinking out loud. If anybody knows of a way or a place I can go find that, like, just let me know. Message me on Instagram or Twitch or car or whatever, and let me know, or put it in a comment on YouTube. Like, that was such a cool concept, because they had this guy or something who had the ability, I think was involved with the military, and he's not even the main character, but like he's the setup for what happens to the main character. Like, this guy could like either, I think he's like, it's like he points at you or something like that, and then all of a sudden, like, all of your people around you can hear all of your internal monologue, like all of your thoughts that you're actively having. And as you can imagine, that, like, they use it on somebody they're in, like, some sort of terrorist they're interrogating in the intro, and then like he has to do something else to make it stop happening. So there's like some sort of trigger for it to start, and then some sort of thing to make it stop. I don't remember exactly. All I remember is this poor schmuck, random schmo on the street. This guy does it to him. He does like the sign to him, and like then the guy who did it gets hit by a car and dies. So this guy doesn't know that something's happened to him, but until people are starting to react to him badly, because his internal thoughts, you know how you have thoughts about like, oh my gosh, this person stinks, or, you know, why did they have to wear such heavy perfume? Or, like, as I'm trying to remember the particular scene where it kind of starts, or, you know, thinking somebody, you know, that's an ugly sweater or something like that, but you've verbally said, oh, that's nice, you look nice, or whatever out loud, but, like, people can hear what you're actually thinking when you think it. So, yeah, it leads to some very uncomfortable things, and, like, they're all, like, I think where the pitch one ended, it was basically, hey, yeah, oh, we think we figured out what happened to you. It's this thing. It's like, yeah, but the guy's dead. So what do I do? How do we undo this? But it's like, I wanted to find out what happened, like, living in day to day, like, then having to control your thoughts and all of this stuff. Yeah, anyway. It was a very good concept, but I don't think it was one that went anywhere. And they don't even have it up on, because they had these up on their website as kind of like these sample things. Oh my gosh. Sam and Lila, I think, is the other one, which was kind of like a modern take on the Samson and Delilah thing. Like, oh man, this is so cool, so cool. Yeah, and then I found out it was like just it wasn't an actual thing. But it looks like the author, whoever authored that one, actually did like maybe do some sort of completion of it, and it's available somewhere, but I have to look into that. It's kind of, I recently went through all of my bookmarked webcomics and stuff to see where I left off now that I have a little bit more stability in life and can go back to reading stuff like that. Keeping up on it. Anyway, I'm sorry, I have run on a very long tangent. You're for those of you who are new to me and my streaming, this is literally a stream of consciousness. Well, most of the time when I do my streaming. So, yeah. And the stream is not terribly organized. Just get to hear me ramble while I color drawings and listen to Zen music, apparently. But anyway, I think where I was when I was starting to try to explain and got down the gushing about webcomics and pros and cons and all that stuff is like this particular style was something that I kind of hit on because I wanted to do comics. For, you know, do a webcomic, like I said, of that one play, and then it's just kind of one of those styles that stuck with me. Plus, I have like some vision issues, and so the nice sharp lines that define things, I'm like nearsighted, so having nice contrast of the black lines really helps. Things feel less muddled to me, and so it's more enjoyable for me to make art in this way. But, you know, speed, like, making webcomics is tricky, and one of the things you have to have is, like, being able to repeat character faces and express the character in more than one pose, or viewpoint and stuff. I have decision paralysis when trying to decide how to break up the story into pages and panels and all of that, and it's kind of where I was fumbling and stumbling were some of those aspects, and the fact that my character design was not very strong for repeatability. And just the speed with which I could draw things. Now, my speed has improved. You know, the more I practice doing things kind of like this, the likelier it is that I might be able to eventually do a webcomic of some sort, which would be cool and fun. Really exciting, but what, this lady's been sitting around here for how many weeks, how many months, waiting to be colored, like, and now that I have started coloring it, like, it takes me hours, days to actually complete it. So it's like, is that feasible for something where you have to have a turnaround time of a week, or for a full page? Okay. And again, it's about learning how to do shortcuts that make your process more efficient, specifically for I think the background's almost done. Specifically for like comics. So you have to understand where you have where you can make the exceptions, where the shortcuts are that you're willing to take, and you know, people recognizing that people aren't going to be staring in great detail at this stuff. It's like getting the impacts down as soon as you can, and just trying to convey the message you meant to convey, between your writing and your image. Words. Words when trying to do art, not easy. But yeah, I think part of my issue is I am something of a perfectionist, and I want everything to look beautiful and pretty and perfect, and it just is not very like. And then I look at people like Meg Civ with her her RPG, sort of, but not RPG, webcomic, Daughter of the Lilies. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. It all looks so beautiful, and there are details, and people like Pascal Laplace. I'm like, oh, that always looks almost painterly. Excuse me. Like, and then me trying to sit down and do that, and like, this takes me a while. Like I said, I'm getting faster. I'm getting to the point again where I might start slightly considering working on a webcomic, but again, like I said, the art is only half, like a small portion of it. It's like the whole composition, how you're telling the story, how you want to break it down. It's a lot, and like my hats go off to every single person who does a webcomic, especially those who like where it is like a single person doing the writing and the art and the colors and the lettering, like doing it all, or doing a majority of it. You guys are amazing. Just, yeah. Because it's just one of those things where it's like, I really wish I could pull it off. But some of these people are artists for a living, so it is easier for them to kind of do some of those things. Whereas I still am, working a 9 to 5. So I don't. Well, let me rephrase this. I'm still working a 9 to 5 that is completely unrelated, and I don't have to exercise my art muscles doing that job. But yeah, I'm just making excuses for myself. In the end, that's really what it is I'm making excuses for not being able to do the thing when I should just do the thing. And the other problem is I've got a lot of things that I want to just do the thing for. Yeah, there's only so much time in the day, so I'm sure probably other people out there like that who have to deal with that issue as well. Yeah. Anyway, so that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, maybe I will get to a point again where I want to make the attempt to either pick up that old webcomic that I was gonna do. Although the likelihood is probably pretty small. I'm afraid it was gonna be like this magnum opus, and I don't think I really want that to be my magnum opus now that, you know, I think there are other things that would probably be better served as the opus of me. I'm gonna be honest, it was my attempt at sci-fi. I like watching sci-fi, but I'm just more into the fantasy as far as the writing goes. Sci-fi writing intimidates me because I feel like I've got to kind of be all sciencey and extremely logical about it. I would definitely be more in the soft sci-fi as opposed to hard sci-fi as far as writing goes. Just because I'm don't get me wrong, I am in a techie career and stuff, but I just have always had a little bit of an issue with the sciences and stuff. Not kind of being engaged by it in a good way, yeah. So sitting there trying to come up with a whole bunch of sitting there and doing calculations for astrophysics and travel in space and all of that, it's just not as appealing as writing like a magic system. Like, sure, I could write some rules for some magic system or something like that, maybe. But yeah. Sitting there calculating whether or not this idea actually would be logical or feasible is the key to the story is like it's a little bit frustrating, so I don't really do sci-fi as much. So yes, it definitely was probably more of a like I grew up on Star Trek, so it was probably heavily inspired by Star Trek and some of the stuff like that, but yeah. Like, I think people like my brother, like statistics and calculations and all this stuff, would probably be great at writing sci-fi, especially hard sci-fi. I would rather research like an entire language in order to come up with a couple of names that have like some sort of meaning than I would, you know, calculating how long it would take a message to reach, you know, Mars or whatever. I don't know. I'm wondering if it's just because like sci-fi just is one of those things that just feels too I don't know what the good word for it is, like too pedestrian? Like it's not different enough from now to make it kind of exciting and alluring. mean, and I'm kind of wondering if this is like a generational thing too, because it's like, man, I don't know if to say like my dad's generation or older, like sci-fi would have felt as fanciful and far off and or maybe it's that fantasy feels a little bit more nostalgic, different time, but like magical possibilities and anything's possible because there's more mysteries out there, whereas with sci-fi we're kind of solving mysteries. I don't know. These are my musings on a Thursday night. But yeah. So yeah, you're far more likely to see a fantasy version instead of a sci-fi thing come for me, but it's always a possibility that I might pull on that sci-fi thread again, just to see if I can manage it. Oh. The other problem is, like, looking back at that play, it's one of those earlier pieces of writing I did that I'm like, yeah, it was fun. I managed to convince them to let me do a play. That was kind of cool. Kind of like a bucket list thing, but oh my gosh, to make it worth to make it worthy of putting on, like, putting a bunch of effort into, like, I feel like I would have to do so much research, so much cleanup. There would just be so much cleanup involved that I'm just not sure that it's worth my time. When I could be writing fantasy or something like that. So, it is what it is. Alright, it is after, it's been an hour, almost an hour and 15. I have a small dog requesting some necessary services of going out. So I will see you guys next week. And hopefully next week we'll be able to finish off the character and the snake and then call this one done. Which means I need to get my butt going on making that wizard ready for coloring. Otherwise you guys are gonna get some filler stuff. Alright. Have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are and whenever you're listening. Bye.